When I bought the mountain house, nobody wanted it. Not the county. Not the banks. Not even the locals. It sat halfway up a wooded ridge, tucked behind pine trees and switchback roads, abandoned long enough that Google Maps still labeled it as structure unknown. Broken fence, peeling paint, mailbox stuffed with years of unread warnings and junk mail. To me, it was perfect. I wasn't looking for luxury. I wanted quiet, space, something that was mine. What I didn't know was that the moment my name went on that deed, someone else had already decided it belonged to her, and she had an HOA badge, a loud voice, and the police on speed dial. Mountain House. The house had been abandoned for almost 9 years. The original owner passed away. No heirs, no payments, no maintenance. Eventually, the bank gave up, the county seized it, and after multiple failed auctions, it went up as a tax foreclosure. I did my homework. County deed search. The title cleared. Survey ordered. Boundaries confirmed. And no active liens. HOA jurisdiction terminated years earlier. Everything was clean. I signed, paid, recorded the deed. Legally, officially, unquestionably, the mountain house was mine. Or so I thought. The first day I drove up, I brought basic tools. Trash bags, a chainsaw, some plywood to board broken windows. I hadn't even unloaded the truck yet when I heard it. A loud SUV engine, gravel crunching, door slamming. Then a voice. "You can't be here." I turned around. She was standing at the edge of the driveway, clipboard in hand, sunglasses too big for her face, hair pulled tight like she was ready for battle. "HOA Karen?" She didn't introduce herself. Didn't ask questions. She pointed at the house and said, "This property reverted back to the association. It's mine now." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. I told her calmly, "I just bought it from the county. Here's the deed." She didn't look, didn't care. She stepped closer and said something I'll never forget. "You people always think paperwork matters. I've been managing this property for years." Managing. The house had a hole in the roof. She pulled out her phone, right in front of me, and said loud enough for the trees to hear, "Yes, hello? There's a trespasser at 418 Ridgeway Drive. Yes, he's refusing to leave." I stood there stunned. 10 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser climbed the mountain road. The deputy got out, looked at me, then at her. I handed him the deed. He read it, then looked at her. "Ma'am, this property belongs to him." Her face tightened. She crossed her arms. "Well, then this won't be the last call." She wasn't bluffing. Day 2, police. Day 3, police. Day 4, animal control. Day 5, fire marshal. Every time I stepped foot on my own land, someone showed up. Different officers. Same complaint. Trespassing. Illegal occupancy. Unauthorized construction. Environmental violations. None of it was true. And every single time I showed the same paperwork. Mountain communities are quiet, but they notice everything. Neighbors started sitting on porches when patrol cars drove by. Some waved, some whispered, some recorded. One older man finally walked over and said, "She's been waiting for someone to buy that place. Thought she could claim it?" That's when I realized something important. This wasn't about rules, this was about control. Oh, that shouldn't exist. I dug deeper. Turns out the HOA, technically, dissolved 6 years earlier due to non-compliance. No board filings, no taxes, no legal authority. But Karen? She never stopped acting like president. She issued fines, sent letters, threatened liens. To people who didn't know better, she looked official. The notice of violation. One morning, I found a bright orange notice taped to my door. Unauthorized use of property. Signed by her. I laughed again, then saved it. Because that notice would later become evidence. By week 3, officers started recognizing me. One deputy pulled me aside and said, "Off the record, we know she's abusing the system." But until something changed, they had to respond. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to defend myself. I was going to end it. I stopped reacting. Started documenting. Every call, every visit, every false report, I requested police logs, filed a harassment record, filed a formal complaint with the county, and quietly, I contacted a property attorney. She noticed. The calls increased. She claimed I was dumping chemicals, that I was operating an illegal business, that I was squatting. One officer finally warned her. Her response? "I'll keep calling until he leaves." That sentence sealed her fate. One afternoon, she blocked my driveway with her SUV, stood in front of my truck, and screamed, "This house is mine!" Then she called the police again, but this time, things went differently. 2 cruisers arrived. A supervisor stepped out. He asked her to explain, then asked me for documents. I handed him a folder: deed, survey, HOA dissolution records, police logs, her notices. He read silently, then looked up and said, "Ma'am, you no longer have authority to contact law enforcement about this property." Her voice cracked. "What do you mean?" He answered calmly, "Further calls will be considered false reporting." She didn't leave quietly. She yelled, accused, threatened lawsuits. But the officers didn't move. Instead, they asked her to leave. And for the first time since I bought the house. The mountain was quiet. A week later, I received notice. She had been cited for misuse of emergency services. The county issued a cease and desist against her HOA activities. And neighbors? They started waving again. The abandoned mountain house wasn't cursed. It wasn't haunted. It was just sitting on land someone wanted without earning it. And when the truth came out, paperwork mattered after all.
Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe, like and comment on my channel. Thank you so much.